Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Chaitanya Charitamrita class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, welcome everyone. We are discussing from Caitanya Charitāmrta, Madhya lila. We are in chapter 2, which is entitled The Ecstasies of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, in this chapter, Kaviraj Goswami gives a synopsis of the last 12 years of Mahaprabhu's life, where he was exclusively experiencing the separation from Krishna, and he was with his intimate associates Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Rai. And we discussed how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was always in the mood of feelings of separation, in the mood of Srimati Radharani. And we discussed how he would recite many verses when he would experience these feelings of separation. He would, so we discussed till verse number 35, where Mahaprabhu, he spoke how he spoke verse on the pains of separation which he is experiencing, and then the perfection of the senses is to have darshan of the Lord. And we heard how Mahaprabhu is actually quoting so many verses similar to the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, where the sages of Naimisharanya, they are encouraging Sudha Goswami to speak more about Krishna. And there they tell that if somebody doesn't use the eyes to have darshan of the Lord, eyes are like the plumes of peacock feather. The ears which are not used to hear the glories of the Lord, they are like the holes where the snakes live. The head which doesn't bow down in front of the Lord, it is like a heavy burden. And the legs which do not go to the holy places, they are like tree trunks. So many verses. Mahaprabhu is also thinking, what's the use of my life if I cannot see the beautiful form of Krishna? So from 36 verse onwards, 36 to 41, he speaks a third verse on having the desire to see Krishna. So all these are very, very highly esoteric portions which are mentioned. The moods of Srimati Radharani, which is like beyond the conception of ordinary sadhakas like us. But just for the sake of, knowing the theory, so we are discussing. And of course, there are some beautiful lessons also which come from these verses, which a sadhaka can apply in his life. So Mahaprabhu says, if by chance the form of the Lord comes before my eyes, then I'll be pacified. And the moment when that form will come in front of my eye, I'll worship that moment with garland and jewels and ornaments. So Mahaprabhu is basically reading various verses from Jagannath Vallabh Natak written by Ramananda Rai, and that is his solace. So basically he's saying, the time when Krishna will appear, I shall decorate that phase of time with jewels. So it is very, very wonderful thing that whatever time we spent with Krishna, and for sadhakas, spending time with Krishna means spending time in various limbs of devotional service. Sadhana bhakti, shravanam, kirtanam, Vishnu swaranam, pada sevanam. That is a very, very precious time. So we should actually worship the time when we are getting the time to chant, to hear. That is a very fortunate moment for a devotee, because in millions of lifetimes we have not got this opportunity. Millions of lifetimes we have just served our senses and anarthas. But somehow, by some great fortune, by the mercy of devotees, we have understood this. We have now come to this process of chanting and hearing. Kamadinam katina katida palita duranideshas tesham jata maina karuna natrapano pashanti उत्सृज्य एतानथ यदुपते साम्प्रतं लब्ध बुद्धि त्वामायातः शरणं अभयं मां न्युंश्वात्मदास्ये. So beautiful verse describes that millions of lifetimes we have served our mind, our anarthas, but they are such ungrateful masters. They have not given us peace. They have not given us relief from the pains. Na trapa, na upashanti. So in this lifetime, somehow we have utsrijya etan. I have given up the service to my anarthas. I have come to your lotus feet, of my Lord. Please accept me. So this time which we have received, that is a great fortune. So therefore, Mahaprabhu is saying, I'll worship that time. He continues, whenever I had a chance to see Krishna, even in a dream, so he's saying, she's in the mood of Srimati Radharani. Mahaprabhu is saying, when I see Krishna in dreams, then two enemies appear, pleasure and Cupid. And I become so overwhelmed that I am not able to see Krishna. When a devotee sees Krishna, he is really overwhelmed and has tears, While serving Krishna, as it is described by Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Devotion, when Daruka, one time he is fanning Krishna and seeing the beautiful form of Krishna, he is experiencing ecstatic symptoms and he has tears in his eyes and he is condemning those tears. Let go away, you are not allowing me to serve Krishna. So therefore, he's saying, Mahaprabhu is also saying, this pleasure and Cupid, they are appearing, and because of that, I'm not able to see Krishna. And then he says, if by chance I get darshan of Krishna again, I shall worship those seconds. I'll worship those moments with garlands, with sandalwood paste, and decorate them with jewels and ornaments. So that's how Mahaprabhu is really in the consciousness of Srimati Radharani. And sometimes he would regain his external consciousness and then he would talk to Ramanand Rai and Swarup Damodar Goswami, who would be sitting always there protecting Mahaprabhu, because nobody knew how Mahaprabhu would act in that mood of ecstasy, because he was not in his external consciousness. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would ask them, am I conscious? What dreams have I been seeing? So in this way, he would ask all these, both of them. Then Mahaprabhu, he continued and he said, actually, you are my life and soul. He's telling to Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramanand Rai, you both are my life and soul. And therefore, I can tell you what I am going through. Nobody else will understand. If we, just understand this principle that only devotees can understand what we go through, the pains and the pleasures of a devotee is experienced and can be shared only with other devotee. Parasparanu kathanam pavanam bhagavatyashah mitharati mitha tushti nivritti mitha atmanah. So therefore, Mahaprabhu is telling that you are my life and soul, you are my dear friend. And therefore, I'm telling you what is there in my heart. That is actually, a basic principle of devotional service, to reveal your heart to some friend. Guhyam akhyati prichati. And then he again tells, in a desperate situation, he's telling Ramanand Rai and Swarup Damodar Goswami, please tell me, am I right? Am I doing something wrong? And because I don't know what to do. So unless we reveal our heart to our, close friends, close devotees, many times as a practicing sadhaka, we also get confused and bewildered. Am I going right in my path of Krishna consciousness? Or is there some mistake I am doing? Because when these anarthas come up, then really one gets bewildered. Mahaprabhu is experiencing the Mahabhav, but for a practicing sadhaka, when he is in the process of getting purified, so many sinful things like poison, they come up. And this poison cannot be handled by our own effort. Just like when churning of the ocean happened, the first thing which came out is poison. So we are also churning our heart by this rod of, churning rod of holy name. And the first thing which comes out is poison. And in that Samudra Manthan Leela, nobody could handle this poison. So we should not try to handle this poison ourselves. This poison of our anarthas is very deadly. What these devatas and demons they did, they approached Lord Vishnu. This devatas approached Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu told them to go to a devotee, Lord Shiva. So therefore, in our difficult times, only a devotee can help us. So we have to desperately take shelter of devotees. So Mahaprabhu, he's continuing his feelings of separation, and then he tells another verse. He says, love of God is devoid of cheating propensities, which is devoid of cheating propensities is actually not possible in this world. Nobody can actually, exhibit pure love of God in this world, because, if somebody experiences pure love of God, he cannot be separated, because if he gets separated, he will die. That is the nature of this love. And feature verses, very, very beautiful verses. Mahaprabhu will tell that what is the nature of this love of God? It is like hot sugarcane juice. One when cannot avoid drinking it, and it is very, very painful also. So therefore, Mahaprabhu is saying love of Godhead, which is devoid of any cheating propensity, it is not possible in this world. Because if there is such a love, there cannot be separation. Because if there is separation, that devotee cannot live. And then he gives an example. This pure love of God is like the gold from Jambu Nadi. In Jambu Dweepa, there is a river Jambu, and it creates gold. So he says that this Jambu Nadi does not exist in human society, which we know. It is there in another realm altogether, in Bharat, in Jambu Dweepa. So therefore, if it exists, there could not be separation. And if separation was there, one could not live. So in this way, Mahaprabhu would keep speaking to Swarup Damodar Goswami, Ramanand Rai with rapt attention, and they would be hearing. And he would confess that I can explain and disclose my feelings only to you. And then he speaks another verse, 5th verse, describes the nature of Krishna Prema. So Mahaprabhu continues, what is the nature of Krishna Prema? So in the 45th verse says that a nature of Krishna Prema is a person who has Krishna Prema, out of his humility, he feels, I have nothing. Just like Mahaprabhu says in Shikshashtakam, I don't have love, you know. Because if I would have got love of God, I would not have survived. So this is similar verse, 45th verse. He says, my dear friends, I have not even the slightest tinge of love of God. Na prema gandho asti darapi me haro krandami saubhagyaharam prakashitam. He says, I am just falsely exhibiting my crying because actually I have no love. I'm just crying just to show how great my love is, how great my fortune is. Indeed, not having darshan of the beautiful form of Krishna, I feel I'm living without purpose. And actually, my love for Krishna is far, far away because whatever I am doing is just a pseudo exhibition of love. Very humbly, that is the mood of all the devotees. As Radha Govind Maharaj, he would say that, Gaur Govind Maharaj, he would say that our mission always remains unaccomplished. None of the devotees throughout the history of Gaudiya, Vaishnavism have said, I have achieved Krishna. Nobody says, because none of the devotees actually feel we have love for Krishna. Mahaprabhu is saying, I don't have love for Krishna, then what to speak of anyone else? Rupa Goswami, all the Shad Goswamis, it is said, Srinivas Acharya writes, हे राधे व्रज देविके चललिते हे नंद सूनो कुत श्री गोवर्धन कल्प पाद पतले कालिंदी वन्ने कुत घोषंताविति सर्वतो व्रजपुरे खेदैर महाविह्वलो वंदे रूप सनातनो रघुजुगो श्री जीव गोपाल. So all these Brajavas, all these Goswamis, they are always in this mood. Where is Radharani? Where is Krishna? That is the mood of a devotee. However advanced a devotee may be, that is actually sign of a devotee. He feels himself fallen. He feels himself, as Kaviraj Goswami says, Jagaye madaye hoite muise papishta purishera kit hoite muise laghishta. I am more fallen than Jagaye madaye, more insignificant than worm in the stool. Anybody who sees my face, he becomes sinful. Anybody who chants my name, destroys all his pious activities. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Vishay Durjana Gopinath Mama Nivedana Shuno Vishay Durjana Sada Kamerata Kichu Nahi Mora Guna Gopinath. That is how humility is a natural outcome of a heart which is full of love for Krishna. That is not an artificial, display to prove to the world that I am such a great devotee, I am humble and I am feeling like this. No, that is natural for them. So therefore, Mahaprabhu is saying the same thing. He says, even though I do not see the beautiful moon-like face of Krishna, and I know that there is no possibility of meeting him also, still I am taking care of my body. That shows I have no love for Krishna. So that is the mood of Mahabhava. That is Radharani's feeling. So Prabhupada in the purport, he quotes Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And he tells that lovable Supreme Lord is a supreme shelter. The Lord is the supreme subject and the devotees are objects. So devotee is always thinking that I have not achieved Krishna. And he's always in the mood of separation. And then he speaks a wonderful verse. He says, how purity, what is the purity of Krishna's prem? It is like Ganga. Krishna prema sunirmal yena shuddha Ganga jal sei prema amritera sindhu nirmala se anurage nalu kaye anya dage shukla vastre aiche masi bindu. So he says, Krishna prema sunirmal, the love of God, love of Krishna is supremely pure. Yena shuddha Ganga jal, just like Ganga. And This prema is ocean of amrit, ocean of nectar. And this pure attachment to Krishna, nirmal se anurage, na lukaye anyadage. And this pure attachment for Krishna does not conceal any spot. Gives an example, just like on a white sheet, if there is a small black spot, you cannot hide it. So Mahaprabhu is basically saying that I have no attachment for Krishna. I am actually on the level of pure love. That's why my black spot like no attachment from Krishna is really visible. I have no love for Krishna. So that's how Mahaprabhu is telling. And then he says, Shuddha Prema is like an ocean of bliss. Shuddha Prema Sukha Sindhu Pai Tara Ek Bindu Sei Bindu Jagat Dubai Kahi Bara Yogya Nae Tathapi Baule Koe Kahi Leva Keba Pati Aaye. So he's saying that Shuddha Prema is Sukha Sindhu. So the pure love of God is Sukha Sindhu, ocean of happiness. Shuddha Prema Sukha Sindhu Pai Tara Ekabindu. Anybody who gets a drop of this ocean, what will happen, That one drop of ocean can drown the entire world. Sai Bindu Jagata Dubai. That is the glory of devotional service. It is an ocean, Bhakti Ras Amrit Sindhu. And just like, we can understand this when we come to temple and take Charnamrit. In the Mangala, in the Shringar Darshan time, devotees are lined up and they take Charnamrit and somebody is serving. And, sometimes by mistake, one drop falls on the ground. And suppose if an ant is crawling on the ground and this one drop falls on that ant, that one drop is sufficient to drown that ant. So Kaviraj Goswami is saying, one drop is not just sufficient to drown one person. Sei Bindu Jagata Dubai. This one drop can drown the entire universe. That is the glory of devotional service. That's why, that is a power of devotion, and every devotee has that power. Brahmanda Tarite Shakti Dhare Jane Jane E Veda Purane Guna Gaye Jeva Sune. Devkinandan Thakur writes in this beautiful bhajan, every devotee of Lord Chaitanya has the power to deliver the entire world. One drop. Just like we know the story when Janak Maharaj, he was going back to the spiritual world of Ayodhya. On the way, he just crossed a place and he heard lots of screaming sounds. So he asked, where is this sound coming from? And this sound was telling, oh Maharaj Janak, please save us, please protect us. So Janak Maharaj, he asked, all these Vaikuntavasis, Dutas. So they said, oh, these are the cries of people in hell. And Janak Maharaj says, oh, I'm really pained by these cries. Can you take me to that place? So they said, okay. So Janak Maharaj went there. And these, people who are suffering the punishments in hell, they prayed to Janak Maharaj, oh, Janak Maharaj, and as you were passing by this place, the breeze which touched your body and came in this direction, that breeze was full of devotion. And that breeze was so cool that the fires of this Kumbhi Park, the place, the hell where the oil is, boiled and people are put in that oil, that breeze just extinguished the fire and we felt such relief for some time. So they were requesting, oh Janak Maharaj, please stay for some time. So Janak Maharaj said, he told that actually I am feeling so very compassion for these people. If by staying here, my staying here, if these people, they can experience some relief from their miseries, let me stay here. So Vaikuntha Dutas, the Vishnu Dutas, they said, "Oh Janak Maharaj, you don't have to stay here. You are such a great devotee of the Lord, pure devotee of the Lord. What you have to do is, you remember that day, one day you got up in the morning and with pure love and devotion, you chanted the name of Lord Ram. Just give the credit of that one name which you chanted, and the entire hell will become free of pain." So Maharaj said, okay, Janak said, okay. And he did that. Entire hell became empty. Everyone was delivered. So that is the power of pure devotion. Sei bindu jagat dubaye. Kahi bar yogya nahe tathapi baule koye. Actually, he's saying it is not befitting to express such love, but I'm a madman. A madman must speak something. But the problem is, Kahileva Keba Patiya, even if a madman speaks something, nobody takes him seriously. Nobody believes a madman. So I have become mad in love of God. I am experiencing this pure love, and whatever I am saying, people are not believing whatever I am saying. এই মত দিনে দিনে স্বরূপ রামানন্দ সনে নিজ ভাব করে ন বিদিত বাহ্য বিশ্ব জ্বালা হয়ে ভিতরে আনন্দময় Krishna Premar Adbhuta Charit. In this way, Mahaprabhu would spend his day along with Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodar Goswami. Externally, Bahya Vishya Jwala, all the symptoms which Mahaprabhu was experiencing, it was like poison. It was like fire burning him. But Bhitare Anandamay, inside he was experiencing bliss. So that is the Adbhut Charit of Krishna Prem. তোমার সেবায় দুঃখ হয়ে যত সেও তো পরমা সুখ সেবা সুখ দুঃখ পরমা সম্পদ নাশয় avidya dukkha. Of course, in all these verses, they are spoken by Mahaprabhu at the level of Mahabhava. But of course, the glories of devotional service, the characteristics of devotional service, they are manifested right at the stage of sadhana bhakti, and of course they are fully manifested at the stage of prema and mahabhava. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, tomara sevaya dukkha hoye, whatever pains I am going through, oh my Lord, in your service, that is the greatest source of bliss for me. Tomara sevaya dukkha hoye jata seyo to parama sukha. Seva sukha dukkha, the happiness and the pains. So Mahaprabhu is saying, so Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that whatever pains and pleasures I am experiencing in your service, O my Lord, seva sukha dukkha parama sampada, that is my greatest treasure. Because these pains and pleasures will destroy my avidya dukkha. Nashaye avidya dukkha. So that is the beautiful characteristic of Krishna Prema. The more we advance in devotional service, we will experience pains while serving Krishna. Serving Krishna is not always a externally blissful experience, but internally it is always blissful experience. Iti nandadayo gopa Krishna Rama katha muda kuruvanto ramamanasya navindan bhavavedana. Nanda Brajvasis, every day they were facing some demon, but they were never experiencing any misery because Krishna Rama Katha Muda, They were always discussing the pastimes of Krishna. Kurvanto ramamanascha navindan bhavavedana. They were not having this bhavavedana. That is a beautiful characteristic of Krishna prema. Krishna premera adbhuta charit. And then one beautiful verse is spoken by Mahaprabhu. So he says, Krishna prema is like hot sugar cane juice. Krishna ei prema aswadana tapta ikshu charvana mukha jwale naya etyajan. Sei prema yar mane tara vikrama sei jane vishamrite ekatra milan. So this prema, anybody who experiences this prema, pure love of God, it is like hot sugar cane juice. So all of us have tasted sugar cane juice, but I don't think so. Hot sugar cane juice, you can try sometimes. Hot sugar cane juice. Tapta ikshu charavarna mukha jale. Although when one chews hot sugar cane, one may burn his mouth, but it is so sweet, he can't give it up. Nayayatyajan, cannot give it up. Sometimes for our experience, sometimes when we eat some very hot and spicy prasad, although devotees may be crying tears because of that hot spicy food, a person may be crying tears, but still he cannot give up eating. Some of us may have experienced this, right? Some point of our life, it is so very spicy, hot, but still we cannot resist eating it more and more. And we may be crying, we may be, experiencing all, spice, but still continue eating. So prema is like hot sugar cane. It is not spicy, it is so sweet, but it is very hot. Tapta ikshu charavarna mukha jwale naya etyajan. Sei prema yar mane tara vikrama sei jane. Similarly, if one has little bit of love of God, he can perceive its powerful effects. So here is saying little bit, even if somebody develops little bit of love of God, he can perceive. It is Vishya Amrita Milan. Vishya and Amrit, you mix poison and nectar, ekatra milan. So therefore, a devotee, although experiences pains while serving Krishna, but he cannot give up serving Krishna. Many devotees, many Prabhupada disciples, they would tell, they share their experiences, how to fulfill the desires, orders of Srila Prabhupada was not an easy thing. It was full of pains and problems sometimes, but still they would do it. Because after they do it, the smile on the face of Prabhupada was sufficient nectar to just evaporate all their misery. We know the story of printing of Caitanya Caritāmrta. Prabhupada, he asked Rameshwar Prabhu that how many books are getting printed, and that time, they were printing around one book a month, and they said, Prabhupada, we are trying to print 2 books. So, and Prabhupada had already written all the 17 volumes of Caitanya Caritāmrta at that time. It was in 17 volumes. So Mahaprabhu, so Srila Prabhupada, he said, oh, you are printing 2 books a month. That means to print 17 books, you will take 8 years, 8 months. Or maybe, he said 1 month, 1 book a month, maybe he said, yes. 17 volumes. So that means more than a year. So he said, Prabhupada, we can just speed up and we can try printing 2 books. Prabhupada, and he said, 2 months, we have to print all the 17 volumes. And then as Rameshwar Prabhu heard this, he really stopped. He was on a morning walk with Prabhupada. He stopped I said, Prabhupada, impossible. Prabhupada said, impossible is the word in Fool's Dictionary. He stopped at that point. He didn't go only ahead. He turned back and he went to BBT office and he started discussing how to do it. That was an unimaginable feat. To print 17 volumes in 2 months. But still, to please Prabhupada, they were ready to go through all the pains. So they planned how they can do it. And they came up with a proposal that, Prabhupada, we can do it, but we have one condition. You have to stay for 2 months here, because many times BBT artists and editors, they need to talk to you and they need to get your guidance, and you are not available so easily. Prabhupada said, okay, I'll stay. Prabhupada stayed for 2 months. And devotees were really working hard, day and night. One devotee would be painting, and while painting he would fall asleep. Another devotee would continue painting. That's how they did night shifts. Practically for 2 months, they were not sleeping, very few hours. And after 2 months of this marathon, when all 17 volumes were printed and they were brought to Prabhupada, Prabhupada was so happy. And Prabhupada said, anybody who has assisted in this printing of Chaitanya Caritāmrta will go back to garden. So therefore, it is like tapta ikshu charvana. To fulfill the desires of pure devotee, it is not an easy thing. But disciples who are in love with Prabhupada, they could not help but serving Prabhupada. That is the nature of love. Pragad premere swabhava achar nij dukha vigna adi na kare vichar. That is the symptom of pure love. One does not feel, one does not count how much problems I am going through. Scarcity, impediments, all these things will be there in service. Lack of resources. But still, devotee is ready to go through any pain to serve Prabhupada and Krishna. Although it is like tapta ikshu charvana. And then Mahaprabhu continued that the poisonous effects of love of God defeats the severe and fresh poison of the serpent. So it is like the love of God is so poisonous that fresh poison from a serpent is also insignificant in front of this poison of love of God. Yet, he says, there is simultaneously a transcendental bliss which pours down like nectar on the head of the devotee. So it is poisonous, but nectar also. So that is how, this love of God is so wonderful that it has the effects of both the poison and the nectar. And Mahaprabhu, whenever he would go to take darshan of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra in the temple, that time he would feel that I have come to Kurukshetra. And he would see the beautiful form of Lord, and he would think that, oh, now I am taking darshan of Lord, which I was hankering. And what was the intensity of darshan? Kaviraj Goswami writes, when he would take darshan of the Lord, he would, stand at Garuda Stamba, and with the support of the Garuda Stamba, he would take darshan of the Lord. And he would cry so much tears that there is a small ditch below the Garuda Stamba. It would be full of the tears of Mahaprabhu. And when he would come back, again he would feel separation. And in his room, he would sometimes scratch the floor with his nails. And he would again go into ecstatic mood. Where is Krishna? Where is Vrindavan? Where is that, cowherd man? Where is that cowherd boy playing flute? And he would lament in this way. Kahan se tribang tham, kahan se venugan, kahan se yamuna pulin, kahan se ras vilas, kahan nritya geet has, Kaha Prabhu Madan Mohan. So that's how he is remembering Krishna, he is remembering Govardhan, Yamuna, Rasalila. So that's how, in this way, Mahaprabhu would be absorbed in various types of ecstatic moods, sometimes experiencing union, sometimes experiencing separation, and not even a moment he would be free from these emotions. So that's how he would keep on reciting so many verses. Then from 58 to 71st, the 6th, 7th, and 8th verses are described by Kaviraj Goswami, how he's desperate to see Krishna. Amunyadhinani dinantarani, amunyadhanyani dinantarani, hare tvadalo kanamantарena, anatha bandho karunaika sindho, ha hanta katham nayami. So, Lord is speaking another verse from Krishna Caritāmrta, written by Bilva Mangal Thakur. Oh my Lord, because I have not met you, aho amuni dinantarani, all my days and nights are useless. I cannot tolerate the separation from you. It is unbearable. Anatha bandho karunaika sindho. Oh my Lord, you are most compassionate. You are the friend of the helpless. You are the ocean of mercy. I don't know how I shall pass the time. That is the Mahabhava. For a pure devotee at the level of Mahabhava, he cannot just stay away from Krishna, thinking, how will I pass this time? For a sadhaka, it is completely opposite. The time passes by without even realizing that I have chanted my rounds and I didn't even think about Krishna once. Time goes by. For a sadhaka, so distracted, the time goes by without even realizing that, oh, my chanting is over, 2 ghanta ho gaya, and 16 mala ho gaya, I didn't remember Krishna even once. So that is the state of a sadhaka, and that's how we have to work on. That's how we have to work on, at least trying to remember Krishna when we are doing the direct activities of Krishna consciousness. Chaitanya Prabhu says that when we are doing the direct activities of Krishna consciousness, that means chanting, hearing, to the extent Krishna is in the foreground of our consciousness, when we are doing the direct activities of Krishna consciousness, to that extent, Krishna will be in the background of our consciousness when we are doing the indirect activities of Krishna consciousness. That means while we are doing our job or taking care of the family or so many other responsibilities, they are indirect activities of Krishna consciousness. We are doing all of them so that we can ultimately think of Krishna. But Krishna has to be there in the background, right? When we are doing all the other activities. But Krishna will be in the background when we are doing our direct activities properly. Otherwise, he says that Krishna will not be in the background, he will be out of the ground. Because by nature, living entities are so distracted. And especially in this age of social media, which is full of distraction, the distraction is at peak. Height of distraction we are seeing. So how much more careful we should be that while doing our direct activities, we should be aware and try to be present. Otherwise, it is so very easy to get distracted. It is so very easy to just spend our time in Krishna consciousness. And spending time in Krishna consciousness doesn't mean that one is advancing in Krishna consciousness. And that's what creates, depression and lack of enthusiasm in the minds of practicing sadhakas after many, many decades. Because we didn't try to put our heart in the practice. We have just spent our time in Krishna consciousness. We didn't really put our heart in our practice. Bahujanma kore yadi shravan kirtan tabutana paya Krishna pade premadhan. So we have to be really present. Try to be focused Otherwise, mind will really cheat us. Maya Devi is expert in cheating everyone. And life will go by. And we won't even realize that, arre, time is gone. Abhi to I was going to college, I was chanting. And when I started, my college days, I started chanting, and now I have become old. And it seems there is no improvement. It is said, Shukdev Goswami gives an example in the 10th canto that in rainy season, the rivers are overflowing and some water overflows and fills small ditch. And some fishes do also go and start staying there. And then the rainy season is over and the summer season comes and the water starts decreasing. This foolish fish doesn't realize that the water is decreasing and its duration is also decreasing. Naiva vidvanshiyam jalam gad jalechara yatha yuranvaham shayyam nara mudha kutumbina. Similarly, a person who is not cautious to spend time properly, he will just waste time, not even realizing the time, whole life has gone. So therefore, we have to be really careful, really introspective. Am I advancing? Am I going ahead? Am I developing some attraction for, if not attraction, some determination, some firm, you know, firm resolve to chant? So all these things we have to introspect. Otherwise, time will go by. So Mahaprabhu, he's continuing. Tomar darshana vine adhanya ye ratri dine ei kal naya e ukatan. Tumi anather bandhu apar karuna sindhu kripa kori deha darshan. So he's saying, because I am not having your darshan, tomara darshan vine adhanya e ratri dine. Day and night they are inauspicious because I am not getting your darshan. Ekal Nayayakatam, it is very difficult to pass time without you, O my Lord. Oh my Lord, you are Anathera Sindhu, Anathera Bandhu, you are Karuna Sindhu. Please show mercy, please give your audience. So although these are the expressions of Mahabhava, but a practicing sadhaka should also have this desire that actually we want to experience this association of Krishna, right? All our endeavors is to realize Krishna. Pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam. We want to experience Krishna. In one place in Antelila describes that when the flute sound of Krishna enters the ears of the gopis, then they cannot hear anything else. They cannot think of anything else. They cannot speak anything else. Ei Krishnera Vamshira Charite. That is the beautiful characteristic of sweet flute sound of Krishna. Prabhupada writes a very hope-giving statement in the purport. He says, for a sadhaka, Hare Krishna mantra is the flute sound of Krishna. The more we take shelter of the various angas of devotional service, the more we will experience Krishna, because devotional service is such a wonderful process. The means and the end are the same. Only thing which happens is we understand and realize that the means and the end are same. They are always the same. Same chanting has to be done after we become a pure devotee. The name remains the same, but we realize that it is Krishna. So that is the desire a sadhaka should have. Tomara darshana vine adhanya ratri dine ye kalanaya ye katan. I cannot pass this time. So therefore, whether day or night, we have to plan our life in such a way that even if we are sleeping to rejuvenate our body so that we can remember Krishna better. In this way, Mahaprabhu, he experienced lots of restlessness, all the various feelings, and nobody could actually understand when, which course the ecstasy of Mahaprabhu would take. Sometimes he would cry, sometimes he would be desperate, sometimes because he could not meet Krishna, his mind would burn him in feelings of anxiety. And then in this way, he would keep on speaking, to Krishna. He said, "Oh Krishna, oh flute player, the sweetness of your age is so wonderful. And actually only you know my steadiness, and I know you know my unsteadiness, and I know your unsteadiness. You don't appear and stay at one place, and my mind is also like that only, doesn't stay at one place, keep running here and there searching you." So in the mood of Radharani, Mahaprabhu is saying, I am just longing to have darshan of your beautiful face. And in this way, he would experience various types of ecstasies. And Kaviraj Goswami says that Mahaprabhu is telling that all my feelings, all my ecstatic symptoms, they are like opposing symptoms. Sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm sad, sometimes jubilant, sometimes morose, sometimes, all these, sometimes I'm anxious, sometimes I'm very blissful. All these are like soldiers fighting among each other. And in between these soldiers, what is happening? I am getting destroyed. All these ecstatic symptoms, they are like mad elephants. And in this fighting of mad elephants, my body is like a garden which is getting destroyed by these mad elephants. So that's how Mahaprabhu is telling, He Deva, He Daita, He Bhuvanaika Sindhu, He Krishna, He Chapal, He Karunaika Sindhu, He Deva, He Daita, He Bhuvanaika Bandho, He Krishna, He Chapal, He Karunaika Sindhu, He Nath, He Ramana, He Nayana Bhiramam, Ha Ha Kadanu Bhavatasi Padam Drishorme. So is again pleading, when will I have your darshan? Oh Dev, oh Lord, oh my dear object, Hey Bhuvanaika Bandhu, oh friend of the universe, Hey Krishna, oh restless one, oh restless Krishna, Hey Krishna, Hey Chapala, Hey Karunaika Sindhu, oh ocean of mercy, oh my Lord, oh my enjoyer, please tell me when you'll appear in front of me. So that's how Mahaprabhu is experiencing all the symptoms of madness. And sometimes he would be happy, sometimes sad, sometimes he would be awoke, sometimes he would, be loving Krishna in that mood, sometimes he would feel disdain, all these things, sometimes in the mood of Radharani, sometimes he would honor Krishna and sometimes he would blaspheme Krishna also. And just like we, in the this Bhramar Geet, it comes when a bumblebee comes and starts hovering around. Uddhavji is there and he sees Radharani in that mood. At this Radharani, she sees a bumblebee and she starts chastising that, oh, you are the friend of that black person. He's so restless. He has sent you to see our pain. And then so many things she speaks, and the bumblebee, he flies for some time, goes away, and then she's saying, oh, this bumblebee will go and tell Krishna what I spoke. Oh, please forgive me. Please come back. And then he appears, bumblebee comes again, and Radharani becomes peaceful. So that is how, sometimes Krishna was blasphemed, sometimes he was honored. That is called as pranaya and man. Prabhupada writes, what is man? Man means when the lover feels novel sweetness by exchanging hearty loving words, but wishes to hide his feelings by crooked means. That is man. So, Radharani would experience that man also. And in that mood of Radharani, now Mahaprabhu is chastising Krishna that you utilize all the women just to enjoy, and then you leave all of them, you enchant all these women, but you are nothing but a debauchee. And who will honor you? Your mind is always restless. But what can be done? You are not at fault. You are so beautiful, and you are ocean of mercy. Therefore, I have no reason to be angry with you. So that's how, all the contradictory feelings, they keep coming. And then he says, "Oh my Lord, you are the master, the life and the soul of Vrindavan. And therefore, we cannot do anything else but thinking about you." And then, Radharani is thinking, "Oh my Lord, oh, Krishna has left me, thinking that I am defaming him." So then she again starts praising Krishna. मोर वाक्य निंदा सुनी कृष्ण गेल छाड़ी गेला जानी शुन मोर ये स्तुति वचन नयनेर अभिराम तुमी मोर धन प्राण हा हा पुनः देह दर्शन. That's the mood of Radharani. Sometimes she's chastising Krishna, and then she's thinking, oh, Krishna has gone. Then she's praising Krishna. And so many ecstatic transformations appear in the body of Krishna. So that's how Mahaprabhu, when sometimes he would be conscious, sometimes he would be unconscious. And when he is unconscious, he gets darshan of Krishna in the dream. Suddenly he gets up and he says, oh, now that great personality, Krishna is there. And in this way, because of the sweet qualities of Krishna, Mahaprabhu would be happy and he would recite another verse. So that's how, Mahaprabhu is experiencing so many different ecstatic symptoms. And then in the mood of Radharani, he's again, addressing the gopis that where is that Krishna who is Cupid personified, who is sweetness personified? And will he appear in front of my eyes again? So that's how, he is speaking about Krishna in so many different ways. And then one of the verses he says is, as the spiritual master chastises his disciple and teaches him the art of devotional service, so all the ecstatic symptoms of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed his body and mind. In this way, Mahaprabhu passed his time. So that's how Kaviraj Goswami, he is describing the ecstatic symptoms of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Anybody has any questions? Next section is a very beautiful, wonderful section. We'll discuss how Kaviraj Goswami is glorifying Chaitanya Caritāmrta and explains the position of Chaitanya Caritāmrta. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.